welcome to We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. Today, we're not just looking at one game, we're looking at 4. Well, technically 3 in an expansion, but they are pretty good games all in all. It's all based around the Kingdomino kind of franchise. Kingdomino originally came to the table around about 2016, where it landed on the table to much critical acclaim. It's designed originally by Bruno Cathala, and the original artwork for Queendomino and the Age of Giants, as well as the original Kingdomino, was illustrated by Cyril Bouquet. Dragonimo, which is one of, I apologise if I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but it doesn't have the Dom thing in it, so it doesn't say Domino, it's Gomino, so Dragomino. That was designed by Bruno Cathala, but also Marie de Wilfred Fort had a place in the design with that. They were involved in that as well. And as far as illustrations go, it was illustrated by Miva da Silva and also Christine Duchamp as well. Kingdomino and Dragomino and Queendomino are all based around the kind of the domino kind of mechanic, and what that is you're going to be taking tiles and you're going to be matching similar colours together, and based on the game that you're playing, then it's going to present you with scoring opportunities. There's so many variations of this game nowadays. I thought I'd just give you a quick overview on what you do in each of the games. Very, very quick overview. Give you an idea of kind of who it's suited for, and hopefully kind of help you make a decision on which one's going to be right for you, your friends, your family, your gaming circle, whatever. So without further ado, we're going to start from this side and we're going to work our way round. Now, a couple of things to make you aware of. The games were provided to us by Coiledspring Games, and we've not been paid for this video either. So it may contain some opinions in it as well as to what I think about the game myself. Dragomino, which is probably one of the most recent games in the stable, is pretty much your entry-level kind of version of the game. The game itself evolves around a mummy dragon and some various eggs. And what a player's going to do is there's going to be draw piles of these tiles. And how you'll play it is basically, as the players play, they're going to be taking tiles and they're going to be trying to match them together. When they match them together, they'll take a similar coloured tile and a small circular tile it is, all this in the shape of an egg, and what they'll do is they'll place that between the two matching tiles. Then they get to reveal the egg, and if they get a dragon, they score a point. If they don't get a dragon, then they get a chance to have the mummy dragon, and that means that eventually that they'll go first the next time. It's a very simple kind of entry-level game. As you lay tiles, what will happen is that you'll create connections between the different tiles, and that'll allow you to have eggs. You'll uncover the eggs, you'll find out if you've got a dragon or not, and that'll help you decide if you get points. As time goes on, you might be connecting more and more different tiles together, and the game ends once all the tiles have been played, and the person who's got the most dragons in total is the winner. It's really aimed at younger players. This is something that very, very young children could pick up quite easily with a little bit of parental guidance. It looks wonderfully colourful. If I'll show you the tiles, they're fantastic in terms of the different colours that you get. Greens and browns and golds and oranges. So it does look fantastic. It's an excellent entry-level game for any young child family who's wanting to play something very, very simple that isn't going to take an awful lot of time to play. So that's Dragomino. Very, very simple entry level. Next we're going to look at the main one, the one that got us into this huge mess in the first place. which is Kingdomino. Kingdomino itself is, again, you're kind of restricted in how you lay out your tiles. You're going to be trying to lay out your kingdom in a 5x5 grid if you're playing kind of 4 players, or a 7x7 grid if you're playing kind of 2 players. It plays very, very simply. I'm going to take 4 tiles. I'm then going to flip them over once they've been placed in numerical order. Then I've got my 4 kings on the left hand side. Person at the top, they're going to move first. And what they're going to do is they're going to move to the tile that they want, in this case this one, and they're going to take the tile that they have and they're going to be placing that around their kingdom. Like so. Everybody else then moves. And as they move, they put their tiles on their respective kingdoms as well. This then moves along, and then we're going to take another 4 tiles from the pile. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to lay them out in numerical order. Then we're going to do the same thing again. Green's going to decide where they're going to go. So they're on a yellow. So they might want to take a tile that's got 2 more fields on it. Pink has got wooded area, but it's also got a green field. So it might want to go there. Yellow, because they're in water and wood, they're quite free and easy. However, they decide to go here because wasteland, basically, or the marshland, has a lot potential to have a lot more points because it has a lot more crowns. And finally, blue has the last token. Yellow, because it's taken the tile, it's gone third, it's going to take its tile. Now it has to connect its tile up to next to where there was water before, thus keeping in with the domino rule. Eventually, as you play the game, you're going to end up, all the spaces are being filled in, and now we have to score. To just give an example, this area has got 1 crown, which means all of these spaces that are connected score 1 point. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. However, this marshland has got 2 crowns in it, so each space scores 2 points. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points. This lonely yellow field in the corner hasn't got any crowns in it, so it scores 0 points. You add up and tot up all of your points, and the person who's got the most points is the winner at the end. This game is an ideal kind of entry-level game. It's quite easy for maybe children as young as like 5 or 6 to even pick up with a little bit of kind of adult kind of supervision and guidance. It also, in general, it's a fantastic 4-player game regardless of the amount of age, because it's so very, very simple to kind of learn, but it becomes very, very tricky to kind of master over a period of time, especially if you've got people that know exactly what kind of space that they're kind of going for. It easily supports 2 players, as well as going up to kind of like 4 players as well. So I can see why it's kind of like a firm favourite with a lot of people. So that's the main one, which is Kingdomino. So the next level up, we've got Kingdomino, the Age of the Giants expansion. And this is where things start to get kind of a little bit tricky. This is intended as a game for people who have had their fill of Kingdomino and they're looking to stretch it out a little bit more. The biggest difference between normal Kingdomino and the Age of Giants expansion is the giants. Now the giants, like giants, are stereotypes in every single thing that they appear in, and they're seen as troublemakers basically. And their idea is they will come in and they will ruin your party, or they'll ruin your kingdom building party. And they do that because if you get a giant on a tile, you have to place a giant in your kingdom on a crown that you have in your kingdom already, which is a bit of a pain. But on the other side of it, you've got other tiles which have footprints in them, which means that you can then send a giant to somebody else's kingdom and stop them from getting the rewards. But I hear you ask, what happens if people don't select a tile? One of the bigger differences between the Age of Giants expansion is that depending on the number of players that you have, the tile selection actually changes. Normally you would be laying out kind of, instead of normal, you would start to lay out kind of these lettered tiles at the very, very top of the column. And they're always going to potentially mess up your plans because there's going to be a giant in there. But because they're always at the top, they're always in the first position. So sometimes strategically you might want to be selecting this kind of top tile, because even though you're going to end up getting a giant, it means that you'll have first place for the next round, which is either good or very bad. Especially if you've got a chance of drawing some footprints kind of later on. But the footprints, they're at the higher numbers, which means they're always going to appear at the bottom. So by having to pick and get yourself some footprints to get rid of your giants, you're automatically going to end up in last place and therefore potentially be missing out on the tiles. Apart from that, it basically plays the same way. You are trying to gather up your tiles and gather up areas that match together, that have crowns in them, in order to score the most points at the end. On top of that, the Kingdomino Age of Giants expansion also comes with additional kind of rules that you can play in the game. And what this allows you to do is this basically allows you to gain extra additional points. Now, it could be something as simple as making sure that your castle finishes off in the middle of the game. It could be making sure that your kingdom is in the bottom corner. It could be making sure that your kingdom is completely surrounded by woodland. That your kingdom has got has got woodland in maybe all four corners of your kingdom, and so on and so forth. What it does is it starts to add kind of different tactical variations in order to increase the longevity of the game. So that is Kingdomino, the Age of Giants expansion. Now I'm going to have a drink, because this Tabletop Games blog, give them a watch, they're fantastic. And while we're at it, if you're enjoying this so far, just drop us a subscription. And if you're wondering why I look so fantastic, that's because I have all my wonderful clothing on Sir Meeple. Nice. This is the big one. QueenDomino is more complicated than Age of Giants by a reasonable amount. It introduces economy, it introduces building, it introduces more tactics over and above. It's not a completely different game from Kingdomino. QueenDomino introduces a couple of differences. It introduces the ability for you to build buildings, and building buildings give their own reward. It also introduces towers, and if the person that has the most towers gets the queen in their kingdom, and the queen basically gives you more crowns, which allows you to score more. While the main mechanics in QueenDomino remain the same as you would find in Kingdomino, there's some additional mechanics you should be aware of before you play, which will make the game an awful lot more complicated. First of all, yes, you're selecting tiles as normal. You'll be lining up as your kings in your orders, and you'll be adding tiles to your kingdom as you go. But there's a couple of additional things that you can do on your turn in order to help facilitate additional points you can score at the end of the game. One of the things is you can place a knight or a soldier. I call them soldiers, they're actually knights. But you can place a knight in a space, and that is going to remain for the rest of the game. But what happens is you get a number of coins equal to the territory that they cover off. So in this case, I'm going to get 3 points. The other thing that you can do with the money that you have is you've got the option to construct a building. So you would simply go up to the track at the top here, select a building that you want to pay. So for instance, if I actually wanted to just go ahead and spend my 3 coins, I could spend it on this one here, and that only costs 1 coin. So I would pay my 3, get my 2 change. What I'm allowed to do is I'm allowed to turn this over and construct it in any space that has a red space. Shows that I'm allowed to construction. But the first thing I've got to do is I've got to take into account what's on the card. Now as you can see, I got 3 towers on here. Now what that means is that I will construct my tower in a space of my choosing. I then get 3 towers and I'll place them on that constructed space, like so. Now, as soon as the person who has the most towers is decided, and this will change during the game, the queen will basically become resident in your kingdom. If at the end of the game you have the most towers and you still have the queen at the end of the game, she effectively gives you an extra crown in the biggest territory that you have. But also in the meantime, she reduces the cost of construction by 1 coin. The other thing that you can do is you can also pay a bribe to the dragon, and the dragon will effectively take up residency in one of the spaces, destroying the chances of anybody actually taking that tile with regards to occupancy. And each of them has an extra bonus that you've got to take into consideration as well. So for instance, for this one, at the end of the game, I'm going to score 2 victory points for every separate territory that I have, which is wasteland, as well as getting a soldier and a tower. So it's a key of balancing up, making money, spending your money, getting in your buildings, and also making sure you're still matching up the spaces in your normal Kingdomino rules. I'm not going to lie, this is the kind of the top level kind of game. This is where Kingdomino maybe starts to get very complicated once you're entering into the QueenDomino territory. And the people that played it, they enjoyed it, and they enjoyed it very much. It added on more complication to what was the basic game. I would say if you're just looking for something to spice things up a little bit, then the Age of Giants expansion is probably the best way to go for you if you're just looking at different methods of scoring, and also if you like the prospect of having kind of meeple type giants roaming the land. And it's not really a giant. I mean, look, there's the giant and there's the queen. The queen is literally about 3 inches shorter than the giant. So they're not really giant. They're just tall men, really. Tall men with long hair and balding, like me without a haircut. So, to recap, Dragonimo, absolutely brilliant for young kids. Kingdomino, brilliant from about 5 or 6 years upwards and suits any age, and is a lovely, wonderful, joyous and quick filler game that you can play again and again and again. Easy to set up, easy to take down. Kingdomino Age of Giants expansion is the expansion that you want to get if you feel that your current game of Kingdomino needs a little bit of spicing up. It's kind of like the Worcester sauce of kind of like Kingdomino, adding a little bit of tang, a little bit of spice, and all these additional wonderful kind of scoring cards. QueenDomino is when... So this is Dragonimo, Kingdomino, QueenDomino, Kingdomino. It's all from Coiledspring Games, blue-orange as well. My name's Richard. This is We're Not Wizards. Thank you for watching. If you like what you've watched, then please drop us a subscription and check out the links below for more information on all of the games. There is another one which I didn't mention, which is writing. And I'm not very good at writing, and that's Kingdomino Geo. But there's a written review for that on our blog, which you can find at we'renotwizards.co.uk. If you like to listen to some podcasts, go to we'renotwizards.com. But in the next time, stay safe, roll eggs. Oh, got omelettes. But until the next time, goodbye. Should be a fire thing. Don't know how the video stuff works.